I'm always surprised when things work. Technology, yay!
Woo!
Okay, welcome everyone to this design thinking session. We have a lot of people here today, which is kind of awesome. We are here to do a design thinking session with Rosie, who will soon introduce herself. And her big question is, how might she scale up her coaching business? So what we do is every Friday, usually at 9:30 Pacific. Today we did 10:30 and a little late. We do a design thinking session where anyone can connect with either me or Craig Provost, and we will get you on here and we'll do a design thinking session live for everyone. And okay, so today we got both Rosie and Vina as guests. Rosie, you want to go first just as you're drinking to quickly introduce yourself?
Yes. I also just ate a donut for lunch too. So just the picture of health over here. So I'm Rosie Noel, and I am a strengths coach. And I also do a lot of consulting with organizations about how they can bring strengths to their employees, to their teams, to their businesses. And so helping people work from what allows them to show up as the best rather than work from their weaknesses.
Love it. Vina.
Hi guys, Vina Jetty here. I'm a large multifamily owner operator. I've bought and sold over $1 billion in my portfolio. More importantly, all of these three individuals are people that I personally work with on my own mindset and my own business. And so I'm just really excited to be included in this conversation. And also, I've never done a StreamYard from my own Instagram or Facebook. So this is streaming to multiple platforms. If you guys would keep commenting here so that we can see you guys posting and interacting, so that really I can learn how to use this platform too. If you guys would do that for me, would really appreciate it. And also make sure you follow all three of these individuals because they're the ones that have gotten me to where I am and where I'm going next. So thank you for having me here.
Awesome. Thank you. Craig, quick intro and then kick us off.
All right. High fives through the screen to everyone out there. Thank you. Happy Friday. My name is Craig Provost. I'm a design thinker, a strategic visual facilitator, and my passion is helping people unlock ideas, connect ideas, and turn it into value for themselves, their companies, and beyond. So I'm thrilled to be rocking out this jam session today with design thinking with these amazing folks.
Awesome. So kick us off, Craig. How did we end up here? And what is it
Andreas,
that
we want to hear?
Yeah, where's your intro?
I was trying to get out of it. Okay, so my name is Andreas Pedersen. When I don't do things like helping other entrepreneurs or helping people with their different business idea, I run a tech company, a SaaS company where I'm CEO. In addition to that, I have got to know these lovely people partly through work, but also through my interest in investing in real estate. So that's the quick version. And by the way, I can see we got there were some people here. Jesse is online. I got a few other people. Seema is online. Like there is a group of people already joining. We did schedule this like 5 minutes before. So yeah, all good. But Craig, now you can kick us off.
Awesome. Can you pop us into the Miro board, the magic Miro board?
Boom.
Wow. Yay. Awesome. So today's session is a design thinking session. It's generative, which means all ideas are welcome. We're trying to ideate and share ideas and short circuit our judgment energy a little bit. So also a key principle of design thinking is having diverse minds. And look at these amazing minds we have. We have diverse perspectives and life experience to draw from. So that is amazing. Yay, us. We did do one session with Rosie earlier. So this is her V2 design thinking. And we wanted to share the endpoint from that last session was her action was creating clarity around what she was offering. So she could create the Rosie menu of services. And the amazing news is she did such an amazing job doing that her new challenge is she has so many customers banging on her door that she's having trouble scaling to meet their needs. And that's what we're going to focus on today is how might we help Rosie scale her business so it benefits her and her customers. So Rosie, with that, do you want to just jump in and add a little bit to where you're at and what you're feeling in your business right now?
Yeah. Yeah. My palms are sweaty. I feel like this is, I know I said this last time and I was like, I felt so vulnerable the first time we did this and now it still feels vulnerable. But in a good way. So where am I at? I have been very fortunate to be in a place where I have a really strong network of people I've been able to be introduced to and met along the way. Um, so I feel like, Vina introduced me to a network coming into this and continues to, and I've built relationships with some of them and beyond that, right? So and then I come from the corporate world, so I have my network on the corporate side. And even Andreas has helped me network with people in his world as well. And so I feel like that continues to happen, which I'm super, super grateful for. And what's happening as a result is I can't meet the demands on my time that I would need to. Right now, I'm spending a lot of time on one-on-one coaching, which I love, but it's really not scalable because I can't clone myself, at least right now. And so I need to figure out how I can, and I know I said this to you yesterday, Craig, when we debriefed before. It's like, where does it make the most sense for me to spend my time? And where does it make the most sense for me to spend my money? And I'm having a hard time discerning that because I feel almost like I'm in survival mode in some ways. Not exactly, right? Because I'm thriving in what I'm doing, but the volume of things coming at me, I feel more reactive than proactive. And I don't like feeling that way. So I want to just be more strategic about my approach. And I love the opportunity to have other people help me build that strategy. Because as Vina and probably by now Andreas knows, I would just sit alone, quiet in my room, trying to build a perfect strategy by myself forever. So I need other people to get me out of my head.
Vina, what is she talking about?
Who, me?
Awesome. So Vina, Andreas, anything you want to double click on there or add to before we actually jump into a time machine as our first exercise? Anything to flesh out what we just heard from Rosie?
No, I think she covered everything I expected her to say.
Perfect.
Wow, real PR of you.
Burn. But I want to say it's sometimes when you are an entrepreneur and you are starting to get success and you're starting to get going, like you have really got going, Rosie, it's hard to take half a day out and just sit down and really strategize and think ahead. And I think this session is something that we're hoping at least it will catalyze some of your thinking and allow yourself to take some thinking time and always like jump a few years out, then figure out how to work your way backwards and then take action today. So it's a normal situation you're in because it's easy to, I know, like you're scaling exponentially right now. So it's obvious.
Thank you. Yes, it's been fun and hard.
I think too, it's important background information as people are watching this to know. Rosie and I, our friendship goes back 20 years. So we may have a love language that might seem foreign to others if they don't understand his background and why I'm so, like, I've literally been yelling at her for 2 decades. So I have a lot of experience in this area. Yeah, we're good friends. She was my roommate in college, and then a little bit after college, there may or may not have been times we shared a bed as roommates. So that's a story for a different type of design thinking, I think. But
roommate and bedmate, roommate and bedmate,
bedmate, all the things. But I think it's also just important background too, to know that one of the reasons why I think Andreas and Craig and I can actually help Rosie here is because she continuously shows up, right? Like she shows up to do things that are hard or uncomfortable that, I myself am guilty of not showing up to do things because they just feel overwhelming. And I've had people around me like Andreas and Rosie and Craig who push me to do the thing that I know I need to do, even though I don't necessarily want to do it. And so if you're tuning in, I think it's really important that you build your power team, and you can share my power team with me. It doesn't have to be a different power team. You can steal all of my people and there's enough to go around for everybody. So I really want to make sure everyone that's watching this doesn't feel overwhelmed out of the gate, because it is overwhelming, but that's what having a good think tank around you will do.
Awesome. Well put.
Love it.
Vina, I love build your power team, be fearless. And like Rosie, we're all being vulnerable today.
Yeah.
So awesome. So 20-second recap. Rosie's trying to scale. She's built through Vina, through Andreas, other ways, a big network. The work's coming in. She's doing a lot of one-on-one, and she's trying to figure out the best way to spend her time and money. So let's travel through time and start at the end. I'm waving a magic wand. It's now 2026. Rosie, we want to hear in 2026 what your business has scaled to. How many people are you serving? How are you reaching those people? There's no right or wrong answer here, just free flow. Your success from 2026.
Thank you. And I love whoever's comment that was, your team will help squash imposter syndrome for you too. I love that because that is a very necessary ingredient, I think, for anybody, but especially for me, where the volume is turned up very high on imposter syndrome lately and in general. So thank you. I can't see who said that, but thank you to whoever said that. So what it's like in 2026. That's a great question.
World
Okay,
domination, obviously.
What's that?
World domination, obviously.
Yes, of course, of course. I now live on Mars. So I think it's hard for me to articulate what exactly the specifics of my business looks like. So maybe I'll get there last. What is clear for me is like I want to have a big impact on individual people's lives. And before I discovered Clifton Strengths, I always had passion around helping other people show up as the best versions of themselves. And so when I discovered Clifton Strengths, it's essentially a tool that helps people do that even more. And so knowing that being able to do that at scale, again, coming from the corporate world, I really liked one-on-one coaching, but I also found that there was a ceiling on how much an individual could even like take action on the things that we were coaching on, because there were like systemic things that needed to be changed, whether it was a manager issue or even just an organizational issue. And so I hope to be able to impact a lot of people's lives individually so that it can also impact systems in more ways, right? Whether that's a small company, a small business, whether that's a large organization, whether that's a solopreneur, but just basically help to lift the ceiling for individuals, teams, and companies. So having the ability to do that for as many people as possible. Again, I don't know what that looks like in tangible terms, but that's what I ultimately want to be able to do via many different routes.
I love that. Can I double click on that quickly?
Yeah.
I won't sound like Rosie, but I'm going to pretend I'm Rosie. I'm Rosie, and my company in 2026 is servicing and touching over 5,000 lives with different coaching strategies. I'm touching lives directly one-on-one. I'm touching lives through my Rosie Coaching Academy, and I'm touching lives through Rosie Intelligent AI chatbots and other ways. I'm servicing people with accessible tiers based on what they earn. Even if you're just starting out in your career, you can access my knowledge. If you need hands-on white glove service, I have that for you too. Does that feel like, Rosie, is that like, tell me if I'm off base, make a course correction.
If she is off, Vina and I will say yes to all of it.
No, wait, I have one thing that I think is wrong.
Do it, correct it, switch it.
We're talking about 2 years from now. 5,000 people is not nearly enough.
Yes.
I knew she would say that.
Yeah. I mean, maybe by like the end of summer.
That was actually one Facebook user who said that as well. I don't know who made the comment. Add more zeros to the 5,000. I agree.
Identify yourself, Facebook user.
Yeah.
You're people.
I love that. Vina, what an awesome like unlocking, and we're shooting too low.
Oh, it's Christy. Christy said it.
Oh,
Christy, I love it. See, well, Christy knows. She knows who I am.
And I got the same comment on the Instagram live, like aim high. Yes.
Yeah, I have not nearly enough. Love the big thinking.
50,000 or 500,000? Which one do you feel most comfortable with? And we pick the other one, Rosie.
Well, I actually feel the most comfortable with 500,000, so I'd prefer that you didn't pick 50,000. Is that okay?
Oh, I love it.
Look, I think the thing that a lot of people don't realize is growth is exponential. It's not linear, right? So if today you're at 500, it doesn't mean 6 months from now you're going to be at 1,000. You'll be at like 5,000, and then 6 months from then you'll be at like 100,000. So it's exponential. It's not a linear calculation.
Yeah.
That's
And
awesome.
obviously how I measure the 500,000, like knowing that I can help people. I mean, Andreas, you talk about this too, but I think for me, coming from the corporate world, what energized me for so long about being a coach in corporate was that there's a lot of aspects of being in the corporate world that can be soul sucking. And if I can help like corporate jobs are necessary, at least right now. Right. And so if I can do something to help people have a higher quality of life, that was really energizing. And so even if I help an organization bring things into their culture or into their, their offerings that they give to their employees, that helps to shift their mindset on different things as an organization like that, right? I might not directly be helping somebody, but if I'm helping multiple people in their company, like that feels really good.
Yeah, so it's like it's the tiered channel model almost. You help one person that then help 20 or 50.
Yeah.
I love it. So you're impacting 500,000 lives. That would be an amazing goal.
Thank you. Oh, it's a big one. And then I think
Let's go control. Let's go.
Yeah. Oh, Andreas, I got one of these. Well, I got more than one, but
you can see I'm
you.
playing with it as well. Like that's your calming down method. It works.
So the only other one that I would add, which I'm reluctant to add, which tells me I have to add it, because it's very vulnerable and I have a lot of imposter syndrome around admitting it. So enough preamble. I want to be able to share like my message and my vision for what's possible for people and individuals at scale. So meaning like speaking engagements and things like that. Like I think there is a lot of power in like as somebody that is low command and not the type of person who likes to be front and center on a stage, right? Introverted, freak in her head all of the time. And I guess I want to be able to inspire other people that are similar to me to come out of their shells in a way that's authentic to them. And so I guess I want to be able to show up authentically to be able to help other people come up and show up more authentically and put themselves out there, because that goes back to like the diversity of thought. The more people, like the people that are like hiding in the wings, have all of these brilliant and beautiful ideas and perspectives that like we need more of. And so I want to just help other people. I want to inspire other people to be able to do that too.
And I want to add on that, Rosie. I heard you hedge there a little bit. You always show up authentic. Like there is no way you cannot show up in any other way. Even if you would say that you feel it's fake, like no, like you are authentic all the time. I have never seen you in a role. You are super genuine, easy to connect with. So I think we need to kill that part of the imposter syndrome.
Thank you.
Ina, do you have any
I don't know
thoughts
how
on
to be
this?
inauthentic. Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead, Vina.
I was going to say, I totally agree with this. I mean, I've probably seen you show up inauthentic at some point, but they were maybe less sober moments of our lives.
But I think we should do a whole session about that, actually.
I'd rather not.
I would really love that. We could do Rosie and Vina's dating history.
Oh,
great.
That'd be fun.
You got to kiss a lot of frogs.
Okay, whoever is listening to this live, like, please drop a 1 if you want to hear that story in another session, and a 2 or 20,248. Drop that if you don't want to hear it. So I want to see a lot of 1s right now. Who wants to hear the drunk stories and dating stories of Rosie and Vina?
Only if, Andreas, you play like Jerry Springer or Maury Povich while we do it. That's the only way it will work.
Let me just tell you on Insta, like all of our people are like one. Like on here, Truthy Mother is on here. They're like 1. We want to hear those things. Too bad we didn't have an NDA back in college.
It's not too bad for, yeah, it actually is too bad. Imagine
Yeah,
if we were enemies, we'd burn each other's houses down.
well, that's why we're friends, because there's
Yeah.
not a way that we can get rid of each other. We just know too much.
It's love and fear all together. Yeah.
Exactly. It's the best way to maintain a relationship. Very healthy. Follow us for more healthy relationships. With that, I will say I have not ever seen you show up inauthentically, soberly at least, and definitely not in the construct of what you're doing today and where you are. And in fact, I have to give you your flowers because you have completely changed how my business has operated just by actively grabbing this opportunity in front of you. And without you having done that, I would have been stuck where I was months ago. And so thank you for actually stepping into your power.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
Awesome. So can I zoom out and recap the amazing thing that just happened?
Yes.
So what just happened was the brain cells merged and Rosie shared her future goals. Vina up-leveled those goals and said, hey, wait a minute. We're looking too low. It should be 500,000 people, and not in 2 years. It should be 500,000 people in like 6 months, right? And Vina called out that it's exponential growth. And then Rosie did an amazing thing and said, hey, what I want to do is I want to create this chain reaction of other people showing up more authentically. I want to get myself out there. So my question to us as design thinkers, and we're going to do this in the generative part, but any thoughts here? What is the accelerant that we can help Rosie pour onto her business to start to create this chain reaction, to start to spark this exponential growth? Any ideas at all? Welcome. Any ideas here?
So I think she's struggling if she is an integrator or visionary. I think she's leaning more visionary. So she would need someone that is more integrator in her business in one sense or another. So that allows her to be creative and have someone else to execute on it.
Awesome.
I also think she needs to refine her flow, her customer flow, right? So from the moment someone hears the name Rosie Noel, what happens after that, right? So do they come? She has her free Facebook group, right? Zone of Genius with Rosie Noel, and she does a lot in there. But what happens after they're in there, right? Like, I think a lot of times potential customers don't really know, one, that they need something, but two, once they know they need it, they don't know how to get it.
That's a great point. Can I build on that? Because I think that for people who come from the corporate world and have had access to coaches and mentors, we know how valuable it is to 10x our mindsets. But I don't think for people who have never experienced like working with you, Rosie, and the Clifton Strength, it's almost from the eye of the customer. What can I experience and why is it so valuable? I think just explaining the base case and then having a ton of testimonials. Like I saw one site one day where all they had on their website was literally phone calls from taking testimonials from everyone else, and they were telling the entire company's business model and value. They didn't put out their own message at all. It was all through customer testimonials. And you would have, if you asked for it, you would already have hundreds of people who would sign up how you impacted their lives in a positive way. So I think telling people like, why should someone take the first step and start working with you? I think that would be in some form of capacity. That would be a huge one.
I agree.
Rosie, what of this awesome advice is ringing true in your heart? Is any of this lighting up your brain?
Yes, all of it. And I think, wait, I want to read something. The power with this really is in Rosie's feedback because it's hard to understand or do something with the results without her. So that's actually a really good point. And part of the problem is I don't know how to scale giving people that custom one-on-one perspective. So yes, everything you said resonates. But then, yeah, as that comment popped up, I think that is a challenge to figure out is like, how do I have similar impact and give people that level of customization without cloning myself.
Did you ever, but you have some form of training, right?
Like to offer people?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, I have like resources for people that are in my like paid coaching, and then I share some free resources in my coaching group, but it's not like directly training.
So what if there was a way for someone like, here are the 10 steps that you need to take, and you could facilitate peer groups within your community with others who have had one-on-one with you, and then they can sort of, and then you offer video content or other content, and then you use the people that have been through your training to sort of get them to a level where they are now much more receptive for a one-on-one or something like that. So it's like early stages of the coaching can be outsourced or helped by other people. And that will help those people that have been through it as well to cement what they learned from you and how they saw this interaction. Because sooner or later, like, you're going to have to scale, in my eyes, by bringing more people into your sphere.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And it's almost like, as you say that, something to think about what that looks like in practice, because what I notice happens is people will attend my free content, people, and certainly I could build out more. There's tons of opportunities there, but it's almost like people can get blind spots around themselves. And what can I do to help to mitigate the blind spots that they have around themselves? Like maybe this is the same person. The new modules that just dropped in Multify Vault are great. I think that type of content dropped can help close that gap. Thank you. I feel like these are all Christy comments.
You're very green.
Yes, I love it. Well, yes, and she's that number one
Christy,
restorative.
don't say it's you. Just put on any other name if that is you, because I don't want I want her to understand that Christy isn't sitting on her shoulder and telling her good things all the time.
Or say bad things.
Yes, yes, I love that too. But no, so thank you for that feedback. And yes, it's like, what more things can I do to help people, like, I don't want to say eliminate some of the blind spots, but sort of like see beyond see beyond some of the blind spots. So like, and what I mean by that is people will consume the more, like, public facing type of content. And then when I do get with them in a coaching session, or they watch me coach somebody like Pace or Vina. But then when I get in a coaching session, they see their results and they're like, I don't know what's good about mine though. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, they get in their own, I wish I had more blue, or I wish I had more orange, or I wish I had. And so I don't know I have to think about how I can get people so that they can see the power in their results without me.
So what if, just a thought process here, and again, this is ideating, so I'm just going to throw it out there. What if you find someone else that knows Clifton's strength, and you can outsource the analysis, and still they do the full analysis for you, but you actually then review the analysis and maybe do a video message for 15 minutes of a read back, and hey, this is what it means for you. And if you now have people that are, because you kind of see the same threads, right? As soon as you have someone coming in green and missing orange or whatever it is, like, you can assume here are some common pitfalls, and those are in the reports, but you can add your experience to it, and you can have someone else build up the content for you, so you don't have to spend as much time on it yourself.
Yeah.
We can maybe use AI and record your voice, and we can build a little automatic video that is generated.
That goes back to Craig's chat bot. Yes. Yes. I think it's still, and maybe it's just like a growth opportunity for me as a coach, because in my sessions, I do so much digging into their specific so there's some people, right, where it's like, I just want to know about my strengths. But then usually, whether they come out of the gate with this or not, there's usually like a problem they're trying, at least 50% of the time, a problem they're trying to solve, or a goal that they're trying to work toward, and they want to leverage their strengths with that. And so usually we have to do like a lot of digging. And that's also like my strengths, like input and individualization. It's like, I need all of these factors so that I can really help like laser focus on what the problem is or the goal is, what things are getting in your way, and how you can use your strengths to help you get there. So that's the part that's, I think, challenging.
I think where you have a lot of challenges, actually two main places. One is you don't think that there is a tangible value because there's not a way to really measure it, right? Like I can invest $100,000 into marketing spend and I can say, okay, from that we have converted $2 million in investment, right? It's a very tangible, hard number. For you, how can I put a number on just living a better life? I can't, right? And it's the same feedback I had for Andreas too. When we spent 4.5 hours about almost 2 weeks ago now, and he mentored me and he helped me get out of this negative thought pattern that I could not break. And you were part of that too. I had worked with you and then you handed me to Andreas, and then Andreas took me kind of over the finish line. And he asked me the same question. He's like, would you have paid X amount of dollars for this? I was like, yes. I don't even care what the number you say is, because like, what is the price of my mental health and my sanity, right? Like, and it wasn't just that one issue. Now it's just, it comes out in all of these different areas of my life. And I think the hurdle, and that's the second hurdle, right? Is people, including myself, do not know how powerful learning and understanding this is until they do. And then when they have like the wool taken off their eyes, they just can't get enough of it and they fall further into it. And it's almost like cyclical in that way, right? Where the more you spend time in it, the better you get at it. And then the more you want to know about it, because the more you want to spend more time in it. And it just, you keep going down this rabbit hole. And I have a lot of people ask me like, why do you need this? Actually, someone just asked on Instagram a little bit earlier, why do you need this? Without, you don't know until you know. It's like one of those, if you know things. And it's almost like a blind leap of faith into it, where you just have to trust from people who have been where you're trying to go, that this is something that has completely changed. Like Pace says this to me all the time. Where have you been hiding Rosie all this time? Like, what the hell, Vina? And I know. I had to take her. I had to be a little selfish. I was living in a scarcity mindset. I could not share her. Now I am ready to share her because there is an abundance of Rosie. But that's the thing, is like the most successful people in business look to whoever they are trying to chase or follow. And this is what I do too. I go, okay, who are all of these people around all the time? Who are they working with? What mentorships are they in? Which conferences are they going to? What books do they read? Where do they spend their time? How are they thinking? And then I just copy it. It's so much easier than trying to reinvent the wheel. And so I see it differently, right? Because I see it as, I am sharing this gift of my team with you. Like, you asked me how I did it. I am giving you all of the pieces of my puzzle. You have to put them together. And a lot of people won't take that step of putting it together. So how do we get over that hurdle of people putting together that, like, okay, you just have to take the first step before you can experience the magic?
Yeah. So I think, let me take a philosophical answer to that question. The thing is, you're not alone in the world. And the more you understand of yourself, the better you can understand how you interact with others. But if you truly don't understand yourself, I think you're numbing your own emotion. And I'm not sure you can understand the concept of true happiness. And I think everyone should really try to understand who they are and how to better themselves in their lifetime. Life is short, but by doing so, you will get so much more positivity back. So, like, it's so simple, but that's the whole emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is not the ability to read other people. It starts with understanding yourself. And Rosie helped you understand yourself and how you show up in the context with other people. If you sit alone, you're not listening to this call. If you sit alone in a house out in a mountain somewhere without electricity, and all you do is hunt to survive, to get food on your table, like, yes, a Clifton strength might not help you. But if you're in any other context and you're interacting with people, the more you understand who you are, how you show up, And the more you can understand other people and why they behave the way they do, you get 10x more efficiency, and you will be able to achieve so much more yourself with that.
Oh my God. Look what just happened. We talked about the chain reaction. You poured accelerant all over it. Awesome.
Can I just take, there was one comment. Can I just take a comment that I have on Instagram? And that is, I can't pronounce, but 2999 Cadillac and their name before there. People will love the value of Rosie's coaching. It validates the individual strength in a unique way. How do we leverage that validation? And then the person wrote, for example, now that they have their Clifton strengths readout, how can they find others that will value that analysis? That's a great way of thinking. Like, who should you match up on? Or maybe there is a whole concept around this, Rosie, where you put up, like, I attend CEO peer groups. You can attend like people who really want to grow by focusing on their emotional intelligence. You can maybe facilitate some of these groups with high people that really want to make a difference. And you can not only, like you're doing for free, but what if you could make an exclusive product for people who really want to work on improving themselves and understanding one another? I think there's a whole concept around that, which requires little of your time. And you can maybe even do it for executives in the corporate world. You can do it one group for entrepreneurs. You can do like, I think there's a whole concept around that you can also commercialize, and people would crave for that. For example, we all know Ice. She would die to be part of a group who is both entrepreneurial and want to work with themselves.
Yeah.
Amazing. So let's do a flyby some of the really cool stuff that just got unlocked. And 2999 Cadillac, thanks for contributing. Everybody online, thanks for contributing. So Vina was talking about like finding people who have already done it and copying it. But Vina, I think like when we try to copy something, tell me if this feels right, we inevitably bring our own style to it, our own magic to it, right?
100%.
Yeah. And then we heard from Andreas about what if you establish groups or buddy systems or an executive group that was willing to pay and passionate about this. And what else did we hear? We heard about measuring. How do you measure this? Vina talked about it's almost priceless what happens for a lot of people, but it's not like measuring, a return on investment in an easy way. So how might you help, Rosie, people measure and express the catalyst, the change you've caused, right? So that's another path of opportunity. And Rosie, can I give you a testimonial very quickly?
Thank you. Yes, sure.
Yeah, I did like a 45-minute session with Rosie, and I did the assessment, and she zoomed in so fast to something I'm still thinking about, which is she's like, Craig, you're a giver, and you give and give and give, value on value on value. And you need to figure out how to make sure the clients you choose are going to reciprocate that value, or else you're going to be dumping value into people who don't deserve it and won't reciprocate it. And I was like, holy crap, that rang so true. And since that, I've heard other reinforcing comments and stuff around that.
I was about to say, what were you told when you were in our CEO peer group this week, Craig? What did the Turker say to you?
Yeah, we did design thinking for CEOs with 8 CEOs for Q4. Shout out Q4 leadership. Shout out to Michelle Jewett. And one of the CEOs, it was awesome. People loved it. One of them said, "You're delivering too much value in this session." They said, you gotta pace it out, right? We can't absorb this much value in a way, right? So, but what I wanted to go there with Rosie is your efficiency when we talk about scaling, for getting to something that was so meaningful to me, that was so, on Vina's point, that had like infinite value to me. And then if to scale, you had someone else say, and Craig, this person is now going to walk you through capitalizing on the amazing insight I gave you. So you can go on to a next person and make that amazing insight. Because that insight is like one of your superpowers, and not many people can do that fast. And then have other people scale me capitalizing on that insight. You know what I mean? That's just one idea.
Yeah. Thank you. That's really cool. And I appreciate the feedback. And yeah, I feel like there's many reasons I'm sure that contribute to me being able to do that, but I genuinely think that everybody is special. I am like the, millennial culture where I'm like, everybody gets a participation trophy, but that's not actually, I like genuinely believe everybody is special and unique. Everybody deserves to be the best version of themselves. And so it's because that's such a core belief of mine, it's easy, almost like easy for me to see it. Not that other people don't have that core belief, but it's like so strong that it makes it easy for me to see it pretty quickly.
Nice. All right. So heading into our last 10 minutes or so here, I'm going to...
Can you hear me?
Oh.
Yes,
Yeah.
you're chopping up a
No?
little bit, but I think it's fine now.
Okay, I just have a quick question for Rosie. Do you think that's part of the challenge is maybe people almost feel guilty investing into their own personal development and growth, and that maybe holds them back or like provides some kind of fear for them?
That is a great question.
That is a good question.
I feel like moms do this, right? Like we were just talking about it this morning, and we're like, no, I can't spend I can't even spend $2 on that because I could have bought like a candy bar for my kids. God knows they need more sugar, but it's like that guilt of if I spend money on myself to improve myself, that's something that I should be doing something else with.
Well, and it's interesting you say that. I think this actually ties to what we're going to talk about on Monday, that why soft skills aren't soft, because I think like tangible things are seen as more value. Like working at a corporate company, a salesperson that can bring in revenue, right? Or when I was an actuary, right? Like I could put together these numbers. Like Andreas is a CEO. It's like those like tangible things seem more valuable than personal growth and development. And ultimately, I feel like people gravitate toward it's almost like something that other people can see or that they can see that validate like that what they're doing matters. So I think I agree with what you're saying. And I think that the way that people manage to some of that discomfort is like, well, I'm just going to pour it into something that's more tangible instead.
Yeah,
So
I
how do
agree
you
with
get
that.
people out of that mindset?
Great question.
Because it's been so valuable. Like Vina, you and I have talked about it. Rosie, you and I, Craig and I have talked about it. If it wasn't for my mentors, coaches, and like and my peer groups, like there's no way the power of community, there's like no way I would have achieved what I have achieved in my life. Like and every single time, and Vina, you know this, I talked about like I go read books and I really try to educate myself instead of just finding others that have already done it. So the value is so incredible high. Like and people are like, oh, maybe I can put $20 on a book, but they are struggling, and then they spend years with that instead of spending one session with Rosie and like boom, unlocked, like Craig said. There's something to that. I don't understand it just.
I almost wonder. I almost wonder if there's like how Tom's does like buy one and we donate a pair. And I almost wonder if there's like something there. I don't know exactly what it is, but maybe it's like every person that joins the group coaching, we like maybe you work with a nonprofit or maybe they get to gift a subscription to a friend. So like buy one and give one model. And then maybe it doesn't feel as guilty or the guilt is gone. And by the way, for the people that are just joining this call, we're talking about Rosie's business. She's a Clifton Strengths coach. She helps people like myself, Andreas, Craig, all of us unlock the next level of our personal development and growth so that we can take that and like 100x our business. And I can confidently say that this has happened for me. I can also confidently say that I talk to her a minimum of twice a week, usually more than that if she'll answer my phone calls, because it changes my thinking. It sets me up for the day. It tells me exactly where I need to focus. And she reminds me to lean into my strengths and not try to improve on my weaknesses. So make sure you guys are joining. She has a free Facebook group. If you're not in there, I don't even know what you're doing with your life. but it's a good thing you're seeing this now. Here it is. It's called Zone of Genius with Rosie Noel on Facebook. Go join there. Rosie puts out all of the free content. Andreas, you do this too, by the way. Both of you guys just put out all this content for people who want to learn like EQ, leadership skills, personal development, anything that they're working on with just like their own Clifton strengths. And so go find both of them on Instagram, share what they're teaching you, because when you teach someone else what you've learned, that's when you cement your knowledge base, right? So you guys hear me a lot on my Instagram lives where I'm like, oh, this is what I learned from this person or that person, or today I learned this. And the reason I'm doing it is, well, one, because there's more impact, right? I can share the wealth of knowledge that has been gifted to me, but also I put myself in a position where I'm cementing my knowledge and I'm really reinforcing what I've learned.
And you're creating a group around you who will hold you accountable should you do the opposite.
100%. Someone says social proof is probably so much more essential for something like this because of that. I think the comment is based on just people not feeling like they're worthy of making this. And I will also challenge you on that. If that's the thought you're having, or if it's like buried deep in your subconscious, I'll challenge you on that thought, because what is the value to my children if I can show up in a less anxious, more confident, more fulfilled manner in all areas of my life? What about now that I don't have to worry about the BS of what I was trying to do before, which was taking me exponentially longer? And now I saved 5 hours. Well, guess what? That time can be reallocated to something that is my ultimate why, which is my family. And so you can't quantify that in like, okay, this is $1,327 worth of output, but no one is on their deathbed wishing that they had worked more and spent more time away from the things and people they love.
Yeah, that's wow. Yes. And you said something super quick before, Bean. I just want to go back to that. Often you don't realize yourself that you need this, and someone else have to push you into it. So I actually like the concept of buy one, get one for free, or whatever it is that you can gift it to someone. There is something to that, because every time I needed to grow because I plateaued on something, it was always someone else that pointed it out. And I was just frustrated in the moment and I couldn't figure out why. But if you have that people around you, and if you already, if a person isn't willing to spend the money themselves, but you have a friend that is willing to, I think that could be like, I really care for you. Like, try this, try to unlock your career, try to unlock your company by. So it is also surrounding yourself with the right people that value things like this. I just want to add one more thing. Jesse Taylor said, one needs to unlock themselves to unlock the bigger opportunities and ideas.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to double click on Vina's ultimate why, because that kind of gives us an apex thought. Like, how do I do the calculus around whether this is worth it, right? Is it helping me achieve my ultimate why? And if you ask yourself and say, hey, I don't know what my ultimate why is, I'm confused, which is totally cool. Rosie's assessment is an efficient way to help you start to peel back to that ultimate why. Right?
Yes, I love that. Okay, I have a ton of comments with really good suggestions, so I want to read these. So Tommy from the Multify community said, what about a buy one and gift one for a friend and some sort of a charitable donation? It might be a little higher of an initial cost, but including a friend and a donation, people would be less hesitant investing in personal coaching. I love that thought, because I agree. Like, then we can justify it in our minds as, oh, but I'm changing the world through whatever mechanism, right? And then another comment here is, can you offer a free trial period for the group coaching so they can see how beneficial it could be for them? And another comment, wow, we got all the ideas right now. I love this. Or
yeah, they're really good.
Yeah, what if everyone who joins the program gets placed in an accountability group with similar strengths so they can work on similar skills together? And I'm glad someone said that, because I thought of this as we were talking. What if, like, And again, I'm just thinking out loud, so I don't know the feasibility of this, right? But like, what if there was a call once a month for orange and a call once a month for green and blue and purple? And by the way, if you guys do not know what we're talking about, or you don't know your color, you have to go and get an assessment, and you should book a one-on-one, but at least get an assessment. Go to her Calendly link. Here's a link. And let me just tell you, it's actually kind of confusing to use. When you say get the strengths assessment, you have to select a date. It doesn't mean you're actually signing up to meet then. It just triggers the system to send you the link. So go through that, get your strengths assessment so that you know what you lead with. It's in the right side. There's a gray box and it'll tell you what you lead with. It's not always the first one that you have. So your first one might be blue, but you might lead with green.
Look at you. Do you want to take over as CEO of my business?
No.
That's Miss Orange right there. But I want to say, if there's anyone listening here where you think, oh, I've already done so many of these assessments throughout my career, I was one of those, and I did this one, and I saw something I have never even thought of before, and it had made me so much more aware of how I show up in rooms, especially around command. I knew it was there, but I didn't know the extent of it. So, and this isn't scary. This is all your strengths. It has nothing to do with your weaknesses, but you can still see areas of improvement. I know you don't want to say that, Rosie, but you can still see areas of improvements based on if your strength is overpowering.
Yeah, 100%. And by the way, I'm cool with the word areas of improvement. I love the word weakness, and I'm also cool with lesser talents, for the record.
Okay,
all okay in my book.
I love some of these ideas, actually. I seriously, the one Vina had there about putting people in a accountability group with the same colors, and then having the group, you maybe need one outsider who's just pushing them on to another place, but you need like that. I think people would pay for in itself to be part of, because that is kind of what we are doing sometimes.
Yeah, that's definitely.
And that was not my idea. As much as I want to take credit for it, someone in the Facebook group actually said it first.
Okay, so that person is definitely brilliant then.
Yeah, I mean, and Seema and Shannon, maybe it was Seema in the other group, but Seema said she loves the idea of an accountability group.
Yeah, that's really cool. Well, yeah, and even the idea of aligning people with their colors, but then also mixing them up one time with people from like 4 different colors, so they can see the value that each like complementary partner can bring to, which is why you and I are such good friends, Vina, because we are total opposites.
100%.
All right. Man, look at this ideation. That was an generative ideation explosion. I think I heard what if like 20 times, which makes my heart warm. And way to build on everyone's ideas. So this metaphor we were talking about, Rosie, like you have this beautiful opportunity traffic jam almost. Everyone wants to get on the Rosie Highway, but you're an N of 1. So some of these ideas were like around how might we add lanes to your highway. Some might be like a fast pass for your highway. Others might be how we divert people to another spot if you can't service them, and so you could still help them. And then there's other ideas, but out of what you've heard so far, what is resonating with you?
Is that the end of the question? It felt open-ended there. I didn't know if there was
I mean, let's revisit as design thinkers our framing, and we use questions as design thinkers because they're an invitation to participation versus statements. So if you're a leader, you're an executive, you run your own company, use questions to frame things. It unlocks people's magic. So we said, how might we help Rosie to scale her company so that she can serve more people and know where to spend her time and money, was kind of the framing. So revisiting that, out of all the things, all the awesome things we've talked about, what is resonating with you right now?
Well, let me look back at my notes.
You would have notes. Even though Craig is taking the best notes ever, you would have your own set of notes.
I know, but they're hard to see, and then they're easy for, you know.
And
I'm
we're
high
recording
input.
this to YouTube, to Facebook. Like, it's going to be out there. Like, it's not like you can't go back and listen to it.
Yeah, yeah. I can't help myself, okay?
Rosie's queen. She has to do this.
This is for my input for later.
Sometimes I'll be like telling her about like what my kids did that day, and I'm like, "Are you taking notes?" She's like, "No." And I'm like, I feel like you are.
I won't remember if I don't write it down. My memory on certain things is really bad. So that's why I have to look back at them. Okay. So I do like, I really like, so there's kind of like two things. I like the idea of like scaling this. So sorry, on this side of things, one, like whether it's a free trial or like I think I like the like BOGO or to some extent something like that. I really like that. I also really like the like peer groups essentially around Clifton Strengths, and obviously like I could be leading some of the, you know, those peer groups. But like dialing it down, and I think somebody else said you know, having groups that people can elect into for each of their themes, so people can hone in on those like specific themes, which I think was a really good idea. And then yeah, Sage also said he's interested to know how different colors can work together, which kind of we talked about too, like individual, like put all the oranges in a room together, but then put an orange with a green, blue, and purple, and what conflicts might arise between them. I think that's really important. And so I like all of that stuff really resonates. I definitely need to find an integrator. I can integrate, but I get I don't really get energy from it, and I get overwhelmed but I just got really good at doing it from my corporate life. But then I give myself no other space. So so that, and then I think where I'm still struggling is like where I should be focusing my attention, because I still am not a one woman show. Like I have other, like a VA and somebody helping with social media, etc. But like where I should focus my attention in the short term, because there are so many things. And even after this call, I'm like, this is all great, but like now there's just more things floating around in my head.
So what if you probably know a bunch of other people who are good at being Clifton Strength coaches, and maybe they're in corporate world and they want to make some extra money and they have some time over. I think one of the things you have to avoid and I see Vina doing this amazingly good right now, you want to avoid you are the only person. And that's why Vina is sort of scaling out her community with a lot more leaders. So what you want to avoid here is you are the only person that knows this. So sooner or later, you're going to have to bring more coaches in, more people that can do what you do, but you don't have to do it like hire someone. You can probably do it with someone a few hours here, a few hours there. And that is another way of how to scale, because otherwise it's going to be very lonely if you're the only brand and you're the only face outwards. And I know it's letting go of control, but I think you're going to have to end there in order to scale your business.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. And I think for me, it's understanding what timing is right, because I'm still so new and growing my business that I think there's value to like leaning into me being my brand in the short term, but maybe I'm not thinking about that right.
It's not a 100% zero or 100. It's not a 0-100. I think you would say maybe it's time you're 95% of the brand, and that little 5% or the 10%, you start having other people that get accepted. And you can A/B test this in the community by putting in more and more people that are doing something at a reduced price, or you are training them, or whatever it is that people still feel they get the value, and you're still overseeing them and you're the brain behind it. But reduce the execution, but create more value. Just do it cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that.
Andreas,
you're
awesome.
also booked months in advance.
Say that again.
Facebook user says, you're also booked out months in advance, which is great.
This is a good problem to have. Vina, so if you put your distilling cap on, you shared a lot of amazing thoughts today. If we said, okay, we're distilling to one thing, one action, what would be your one action you would recommend for Rosie? Like the thing you'd say you should do next week. Rosie, you should be doing this next week, blank.
You should do all the things we talked about on this call.
You would say that. You would say that.
Maximizer.
High maximizer, high activator.
I'm actually surprised you haven't done most of the things we've talked about. We've been on this call for like an hour. What have you been doing?
You're joking, but also you're not.
Yeah, not entirely joking. Okay, but if you can only pick one thing from this call, I think I'm lower ranger, and I think this is showing.
No, you're high ranger. It's like you're 11.
Oh, but I just want to range everything at number one priority. Okay, so if I'm doing one thing next week for you, it is I am restructuring what your customer experience flow, like what that journey is, the customer journey. So I'm taking them from, and okay, I'm sorry, I need two. I can't have just one. I need two. Is that okay?
That's good.
It'll be an easy one. The second one's ancillary. So I would be doing more like Instagram lives or StreamYards where you can push to all your different platforms, where you can just teach about something, right? The importance of this, why you need to know what your strengths are, what your strengths mean, like whatever that content is. I would start doing that maybe like once a week at least. If you could do 3 times a week, I'd be really happy. And if you could do 7 times a week, I'd be ecstatic. So you do that. Then people can go to your Facebook group, because the more time they spend in it, the more every single person that listens to you needs this. They just don't know it, and they may need to be exposed to it multiple times to get there, right? So then they can go to your Facebook group and you have a ton of content there, like so much value there. Next week, aren't you doing a free coaching call? One day next week?
I'm doing a free call on how to lead with value using your strengths.
Okay, so literally every person that watches this video should be, and how do they get that email? If they join your group, then they'll get an email with the login?
Yes.
Okay, so every person should be showing up on that Facebook group. On that call, you should be telling people that they can actually work deeper with you, and then have some structural ideas around, are you going to lean into the group coaching? Are you going to do the buy one, give one model, the donation model? Like, what does that look like? And then know from there, there are going to be people like me, right, who are like, this is great and this is amazing, and I will show up for all these group calls, and I will take all of this low cost value that you're going to pour. But now I want to talk to you about like this specific thing on my Clifton strengths. I want to talk to you about last week when my competition showed up in a negative way, and how I could have maybe thought about that differently that I can't see because I'm just so competitive. I'm like, that was the right way to do it. But I need you to be like, well, what if we did it this way instead, and we leverage your woo or your maximizer or whatever that is, right? So I think mapping out that customer journey and having a very clear understanding of where they start and the different value that they get and who the person is. Like, not everybody is going to, well, everybody needs it, but not everybody is going to want to dedicate the time and energy, even though in my opinion you should. You're crazy if you don't. But you know, I say this all the time. I'm like, the world needs garbage men, and I'm not mad about it, because I don't want everyone to go out and be operating at the level that all of us are, because if they're doing that, who is going to work for us? Right? And we need people that are willing to build my dream. I need them to not build, and I don't hope that or wish that on any one specific person, but just the law of large numbers, everybody is not going to fall into this category. But the people that know and truly believe that there is something more for them, or they can achieve something more, they are going to make the investment of time and energy and effort and money to get to that next level.
Amazing. Thank you for this incredible brain cell merging today. Rosie, I know we put a lot more ideas in your brain and in your palate, and the challenge is distilling them down. So, woo.
It's an internal joke.
Yeah.
This is how
Inside joke, Greg.
This is the clap for
Okay, I
Rosie.
was like, I want to do this too.
I'm a lobster apparently
do
now,
this.
so
Everybody should do this whenever you clap, especially at Andreas and Rosie.
yep.
For those of you who know, you know.
Lobster
Yeah.
high fives. Lobster high five.
I'll see if I can put in a funny picture quickly while you keep talking.
Oh, joy.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, I wanted to respect everyone's time and thank everyone for showing up full-heartedly and open-mindedly today. If anyone has any closing comments, throw them in there. Rosie, I'll go through this and do a distilling pass and make a summary. And at least you'll have that to jump off from. But amazing sharing. Rosie, why don't you bring us home?
I have a closing comment for me just before we give it to Rosie. Is that okay?
Okay, absolutely.
Okay.
Do it.
You know, I have all the thoughts. One, I want to tell Craig, this is so cool. Okay, so now you know why we lobster thought Rosie.
Oh.
It's out there now.
Okay.
Oh, joy.
Yeah, out there. The world to see. Craig, I wanted to just say the way you depict my inner thoughts and like the things that all of us are thinking and saying, not just so quickly, but so thoroughly. And some might say you distill our ideas. It is truly incredible. It's magical to watch this happen in real time. It is just, it's a skill and a talent that I know I don't possess. And so just thank you for that. Thank you for also pouring into the people who pour into me. Because of you, they are better and it makes me better. So thank you for that as well. And then, you know, Andreas, I know that Craig is your relationship originally. So thank you for sharing him with us, because he is clearly able to do something that I never in a million years would have been able to do. And Rosie, I'm glad that you were open to this and you let us just do this out in the open. I know that can feel vulnerable, but I think you have so many people rooting for you and uplifting you and cheering you on. And I expect all of this done by 5 p.m. today.
And with that,
and with that, but no, and also if you guys are listening in, make sure you're following these individuals. I'm telling you, they've changed my entire life, not just my business, but like my personal life, my mental health. Everything in my world is better because of the people I have around me. So follow them. Make sure you guys are like soaking in all of the free game that they're giving you. And then really consider how you can improve your own internal personal development by working with individuals like this.
And Vina, you also are pouring into all of us. It's not a one-way street. We're all mentoring and peer grouping one another, and it makes a huge difference mentally for our businesses, everything else. So thank you for being the common denominator and being awesome.
yes. Thank you. And yes, with that, I will make some closing comments. I need like lobster claw puppet hands. So
it's actually, let me explain the clause. It was actually my English as second language, my ESL, and I wrote like legal term clause, but it was I wrote it like lobster clause, and then after I asked Rosie, we got to take a photo because Vina was going to look at this, and then I had to put the lobster hands on. So it's just but the picture just became funny. So now it's out there. Anyone who have seen this will have seen the photo, and they cannot unsee it.
Yeah, I never know what to do with my hands. So whenever people are like, take a picture, I'm like, so you caught me just being my awkward self. So yes, well, so thank you. And closing comments, in general, yes, like the amount of time and energy that everybody on this call has poured into me, not just on this call, but very much outside of this call, is like, yes, of course, I'm the one that does the work, but I would still be like sitting in my room, like writing in a journal, hiding from the world if it wasn't for people like Vina, Andreas, Craig to pull me out of my comfort zone, to push me, to lift me up when I'm beating myself up, because I'm really good at that. And so I feel really grateful to have everybody here. And I've been talking about this a lot in my coaching sessions, and I think it ties to what we're doing here, which is, and I haven't read the Who Not How book, so I can't speak to that specifically, but I think especially for people like me, I think Andreas and Craig, I think we all lead with green strategic thinking. It's very natural to think that we have to figure out the how before we can incorporate the who. And learning that you will figure out the how through the who, and it will be faster and it will be better. It'll be more diverse. And so and that's something I've really learned from you, Vina, and all of your orange glory, is like forcing yourself upon me with your high woo and your high communication. I was like, why are we talking so much? And now I'm like, I need to talk every day. I need to externally process all of these things. Right. But truly, like, leaning into the who and trusting that the right who, and spending your time, energy, and effort pouring into that who, they pour into you, and you will get faster, better results. And I feel like that is why I am in this position today, to be trying to figure out how to scale, because I've been so fortunate with the who in my life.
That's an amazing talk about value.
Yeah.
You got it,
All right,
Craig.
mic drop.
I love it.
Mic
So
drop.
we're
Mic
gonna,
drop.
with that, I mean, we can't leave at a higher level than that. So I'm gonna say, if anyone listened into this, you want me and Craig to jump in and do idea distillation, come up with an idea, help you, unstuck you in your business, or in your personal life, please reach out to us on social media. You can see it here up on the screens. Those are our Instagram handles. Follow us, follow Rosie, book a session with Rosie. Definitely follow Vina. And especially if you're interested in investing into real estate. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. And I don't know what the topic is next week, but we have like 7 people lined up for these sessions. So Craig, I don't think these Friday sessions are going away anytime soon.
Awesome. I love it. High fives.
Yeah, awesome, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Love it.
Thanks,
Bye.
Craig.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.